Hey everyone, this is ScrapComputer here. This guide's going to cover and explain the support Soraka. First up, let's cover a few basic pretexts. Auto attack range 550, main damage orientation is AP, resource mana, main role is support. Overall skill cap, low. Runes. There are two possible rune setups for support Soraka. The first is for AP support Soraka. This one is more for the bursty based, poke based Soraka. I personally don't really like it. It does give your heal some real prevalence in lane, and of course if you skill with AP. Also the penetration works beautifully with your auto attacks and abilities, but at the end of the day you are too squishy. I think you don't really have enough burst damage to back up an AP pick. It is fantastic and you heal crap tons, but for me personally, it leaves me too vulnerable to attacks. If I get dove on once with this setup, you will more than likely die, but on the bright side, it is actually better for your team. Your heals will do more, you'll do more damage, and overall it is better for your team, but not for yourself as a support, as a squishy support. It's really up to you. The second one, as seen below, is for tank Soraka. I personally like this one a little bit more. It means you can take a lot more risks and just use your base damage and base heal to help out your team. You can become, essentially later on into the game, a second tank. This one allows me to auto attack, poke and trade with a carry without the risk of just getting popped immediately. With the previous setup, it's more use abilities and run away. With this setup, you can actually get into the thick of things. I don't advise it, but you can if you want to. And if you get picked by a blitzcrank, you're not going to die. Realistically, it is up to you. Masteries. There are two possible mastery sets for Soraka. A note to this is do pick in conjunction with the previous section. So if you pick tank Soraka in the previous section, pick tank utility Soraka in the mastery section. Just make sure you correlate them correctly. Don't mix and match, it never works out that well. The first is for AP utility Soraka, as seen below. It's 9021. This gives us a little bit of cooldown reduction in AP start game, which is always fantastic on a Soraka. This will make your heals do a little bit more and your poke do a little bit more damage, and of course you still get the benefits of all of the utility tree. The second is for tank utility Soraka, 0, 16, 14. This gives us some tankiness so we don't get popped as a squishy Soraka, leaving us pretty much invincible start game for the most part as long as we don't make too big of a mistake. We also get the utility tree for all of its benefits. This is for the less experienced or even more careful Sorakas. The tank stats go a long way and realistically make you extremely powerful versus bursty bot lanes, which the other setup doesn't provide. Summoner spells. These are the viable summoner spells as seen below. They're all pretty self-explanatory on a support. You're going to want to pick up Flash as 100%, then you're going to want to grab Exhaust for its defensive and offensive properties if you want a very all-round base spell. I actually heavily advise this one on Soraka because, well, she does lack proper defensive properties, so the Exhaust really does help bridge this gap. If you want to kill your enemy laner or if they're heal based lane, you're going to want to pick up Ignite. Besides this, I nearly always pick up Flash, Exhaust, and that's pretty much it. Compositions to pick Soraka with. You should pick Soraka to be with these compositions if you see they need these attributes. These are not the only times you pick Soraka, of course. You may just have a heavy consideration of her. Siege compositions. Soraka is a powerful support with sieging compositions, so you can sustain up an ally and just basically keep your team sieging and keep them there for as long as possible. A lot of weaknesses of many siege compositions is the fact, well, they've got to back off eventually. With Soraka, this is going to take a lot longer. Protect the carry compositions. Soraka is willingly one of the best supports with this composition. She can rain down heals of absolute fire on a single target and make them basically unkillable for the most part. In addition, her ultimate added to this makes anything but a 2 or 3 man burst to your carry nothing but a healable dent. She can make your carry invincible, pretty much the only reason why she's very good with this comp. 80 carries to avoid is Soraka. Generally, for the most part, you can win versus these lanes, it's just a little bit more difficult. Misfortune. Misfortune can apply grievous wounds with her double E. This kind of destroys your ability to heal properly until level 6 at least. Her movement speed, mobility and burst can also destroy a Soraka pretty easily. On the bright side, you can interrupt her ultimate with your E to stop the channel, but if you're in the way of the channel, you're probably dead already. Varus. This guy also has grievous wounds with his E, and they're pretty much you can't really take them away with your ultimate because they'll refresh almost immediately. This means heals are off the table for the most part when he engages, and a good Varus will just ultimate E the carry and you'll not be able to heal them, and that's them dead. Game over. His ranged poke and ability to long range engage also makes Soraka kind of vulnerable, and she'll always be in tender hooks in case she herself gets engaged upon. Draven. You can throw a single axe and he can just, he can cut you to shreds essentially. Your silence won't really affect him that much, and he's so strong start game he can absolutely crap on you. Generally try to avoid him. Vayne. She isn't affected by her E pretty much at all. She can avoid your Q easily, and her chase potential and mobility is kind of nearly impossible to deal with. You also can't punish her start game, which is more important to the fact. Vayne kind of heavily relies on a very easy start game to kind of farm up till 6 until she gets her power spikes. Soraka is so passive, she cannot punish a Vayne for picking Vayne, with her only weakness being a weak start game. Overall, do never pick Soraka versus Vayne. It's a horrible choice. The Vayne will just scale and essentially kill everyone. Any carries to pick Soraka versus. Soraka does not counter these people completely. She can still lose. She just has a higher chance to win versus these lanes. Urgot. Urgot relies on slowly grinding down your AD carry. If you keep your distance and simply heal up any damage that hits your carry, you can out-sustain this guy's mana pool pretty heavily. You can also stop his EQQQ combo by simply, throwing down your E. And you can also stop his ultimate channel with your E as well, overall helping out everything. Caitlyn. Caitlyn is a poke lane. She relies on poking down your enemy, making them slowly lose health until she can win an engagement. Soraka is, the complete opposite of this. She heals. She can just simply heal and nullify basically any poke Caitlyn can put down for the most part. You can out-sustain her poke, and if you do this, she's next to useless. Lucian. If you play very well, you can counter this guy quite heavily. Once he dashes in, simply throw down your silence and then Q him. You can destroy his combo, and if he can't combo, he isn't that effective. You can also simply heal your ally every time they get bursted down, and Soraka is quite good at alleviating the pressure. Lucian can kind of provide. Tristana. Triss kind of really heavily relies on bursting down her enemy. It's kind of hard to do when a Soraka is healing for insane amounts. When Triss jumps in, you can immediately throw down your E and Q to stop the rest of her combo. This can ruin her if she's jumped in, to get the reset. In addition, coming on from the previous point, she relies heavily somewhat on resets for the most part, so you can counter these with your W ultimate knee, as I've mentioned, and completely ruin her combos. A note to this is that I'm taking away for this guide only the good AD carries with Soraka. Soraka is good with absolutely everyone and no one in particular, which is kind of silly. She's so good, and she just meshes with everyone well and pretty much equally, so I didn't want to put in a section that's kind of redundant. Supports to pick versus. Lulu. Very heavily relies upon poking and grinding down her lane gradually. This doesn't work versus the best sustainer in the lane, as Soraka to sit back, heal, nullify all of her poke. She's useless. Braum. You can easily harass this guy down. He lacks any true ability to retaliate from your poke, beyond of course a minuscule Q, which you can sustain up. Simply trade the crap out of this guy and just sustain your lane. His weak start game should be taken advantage of. Zillion. Much the same as Lulu, he relies on harassing you down gradually. As long as you remain safe, let him harass you down, or let him harass the carry down more to the point, and heal him up every time he does, nullifying all of his poke. Zyra. This is a very harassment based lane. Simply out heal with her semi-engages and you should be fine. It's kind of difficult to counter her. You can ruin her combo as well by running up and using your E, which destroys her for the most part. Morgana. So you can auto attack over minions and Q over minions, and she can't. As long as you avoid that Q, you should win the lane. As you can kind of out-sustain her trades, and you have a longer auto attack range than her. You should be okay versus this lane. In addition, her shield doesn't really stop anything of yours. I know the Q and E count, but for the most part, Soraka is very a passive lane. She's very relaxed. She won't really be using them too often. Alistair. Ka is literally no long range in harassment. Use this to your advantage and harass the literal hell out of this guy. Run up, WQ combo him by using your E as well. Just essentially slap him around the lane, throw bananas at him. He can't do anything. Supports to avoid. You can still win, but it's far less likely. Blitzcrank. If he grabs you, that's it. You're pretty much dead without flash. This is a lane you should avoid like the plague. Leona, same as Blitz. If he dives you, Soraka will be flattened. Sustain lanes rely on small engages gradually out-sustaining their opponents, not all hard ins. All ins will just destroy this lane. Thresh, exactly the same as the others. A good engage counter sustain lanes. Overall, kind of repetitive. All of these guys have the same attributes. The ability to engage and punish you and kill you for making even a single toe out of line. Avoid hard kill lanes. Sustain is very weak versus hard kill lanes, so do avoid them at all costs. Never pick Soraka versus these lanes ever. You can still win, of course, but only if you're playing perfectly, and a single mistake, that's the lane gone, so avoid it. Leveling order. There are two main leveling orders, this is shown below. The first is when we max our W, our Q, our E, then finally our ultimate, obviously. Well, this setup is more based around the sustained general Soraka lane. Everyone, for the most part, will be picking this setup. It's where you just max heal. You know, you're a heal bot essentially in the bot lane. All you're going to do is beating down heals, and since Soraka is actually a sustain based champion, I generally always use this setup. I don't use the next one, which I'll get into. Leveling order number 2, max her Q, W, ER. This is for the poke based Soraka. Personally, I find her poke to be minuscule compared to many other better supports at it. I'd rather max my sustain like my champion is meant to be used, rather than maxing my poke Q just for extra damage. Your AD carry should bring enough, your heals bring enough to the table. You don't have to add a little bit of poke. For the most part, you can use this setup. I've seen it used to quite a good success, but personally I find it too risky. I'd rather just sustain. Support item. There are two main support items you can get on Soraka. Let's get into it. Coin. Soraka works fantastically with coin. It has built-in sustain, which is perfect for her W, and later on the active works very well with Soraka because, you know, she lacks any hard mobility and escape. This makes up for it. You will be playing mostly passive in the laning phase regardless of when you're playing Soraka, so this item is absolutely perfect both with Soraka inherently and of course with her playstyle. Spell Thieves. This is a less popular item on Soraka as it lacks sustain and is kind of harder to pull off. This item forces you to obviously auto attack and poke down your enemy, and this is a little bit risky when you're a sustain lane trying to avoid engagements. This can get you caught out very easily. If you're versus a lane that you think you can handle, I actually don't mind that this item has a nice bit of damage injection and even a little bit burst. It's really up to you. I personally advise coin, but the more ballsy players of course pick up Spell Thieves and do some damage. Soraka's passive, Salvation. Soraka gains 70% movement speed by moving towards allied champions who are below 40% of their maximum health and who are outside of Astral Infusion's range. Range, 2500. Uses and tips. Number 1, similar to Cho'Gath's Feast, Soraka will be able to recognize champions who are below the health threshold for the sake of both Salvation and the Wish. Number 2, the movement speed of Salvation only applies when Soraka is facing in the direction of her low health ally, even if her line of sight is obstructed by terrain. Merely pathing towards their location is not necessarily enough to grant her the buff, so ensure, generally speaking, you're pointing towards the general direction of the low HP ally, and don't just path around it. Number 3, the line of the arrow points to allied champions. Simply, you know, it's kind of displayed like Thresh's Dark Passage or Yasuo's Last Breath, indicating the direction in which she must go to gain the bonus movement speed. Use this to help you out in the previous point. Number 4, the movement speed ceases once Soraka is in range of Astral Infusion. Number 5, now a point that will affect the rest of the points of this ability. Salvation only gives bonus movement speed when approaching low allies in range. Thus, it might be beneficial to leave some allies low, long enough to just escape danger. I'll get into this later. Number 6, if a low ally is escaping, you may use their low HP to actually give you kind of a get out of jail free card to escape yourself. I basically never heal anyone if they're very low and ahead of me when I'm running away. If they are far enough to be safe, let them stay low to gain this bonus movement speed. Don't heal them because you're gonna, you know, blow it. If they go above 40% health, bang, it's gone. That's it. No movement speed for you. You could die. Number 7, if a low HP ally, if you can be allowed to do this and they're low enough when chasing an enemy, use their movement speed to help chase down an enemy with them. I know it's kind of silly. Just ensure you've got your finger on the W button, because if they're low chasing someone, the enemy could do a turn, so just a note to that. Number 8, this passive gets you to lane faster. Soraka is basically the only champion that actually benefits from leaving the lane a little bit earlier and backing while her carry is low to get to lane faster. This also works mid game when you say need to get to Baron and you have a low HP ally there, for example. Number 9, the movement speed incorporated with this ability can be used to avoid skill shots pretty heavily. Number 10, in teamfights, many champions will be very low. Use this to your advantage. Use the movement speed it provides to reposition yourself a lot and accordingly to set up your whole kit, run to other people to give them heals, etc. Number 11, the movement speed may also be used to help kite all of your enemies. The movement speed is perfect for this. Number 12, due to this ability, you may bait off on not getting boots until later on into the game, because the only time you'll be around people generally is when they're kind of low, so you'll always have this passive up for the most part, and in lane you don't need much mobility because you're just a heal bot, so it's just logic. Number 13, coming on from the previous point, when you do get boots, I heavily advise getting either boots of mobility or boots of swiftness. The passive of Soraka works in conjunction with these items, making Soraka basically uncatchable. For this reason, they're the best boots with her. Soraka's Q, Star Call, active. Soraka calls on a star which lands after 0.25 to 1 seconds delay depending on how close the target is to your current position. Enemies standing within the impact zone take magical damage. Enemies standing at the center will take 50% increased damage and are slowed for 2 seconds. Ability range 970, slow 30, 35, 40, 45 and 50%. This is actually pretty huge. Uses and tips. Number 1, spell shields will block the damage and the slow but do not prevent Soraka from healing herself. Number 2, this ability is considered to be a projectile for Unbreakable and Wind Wall. Number 3, Star Call grants sight of the area just before it lands. Due to this, it's an amazing low cooldown scouting ability to check any bush you're not sure of. Number 4, coming off the previous ability, this also makes Star Call really good at checking jungle camps like Blue, Red, Baron, Dragon. If you ever need to check these camps for a jungler position, to counter jungle, to even check if they're doing Dragon, just use this and it's a quick fire way. Number 5, when an enemy is escaping or trying to juke in a bush, you can use Star Call to see which way they're going, or even just to get vision of them so your team can finish them off. Basically, you can stop juking. Number 6, Star Call's projectile falls more slowly the longer the distance Soraka herself is away from the cast. This means a close range cast is almost immediate, but a longer range cast will take forever. This takes a lot of practice to get used to, and realistically, there's no real tip I can give you for this. It's all about timing. Number 7, beyond auto attacks, this ability is your best chance to poke down your enemies with its base, range and damage. Number 8, enemies will be able to see where this ability is going to land, hence you can use this to easily zone enemies off minions and just generally. Number 9, the slow involved with this ability makes it epic to help your team in kiting an enemy. The slow is so good. Number 10, set up your E with your Q anytime you can. If you cast your E, your enemy will, usually just walk out of it, and there's not much you can do. But if you cast your Q, the slow will lock them down inside your E long enough just for the E to bind them. Number 11, the base damage of this ability is great in help pushing minion waves. Number 12, if your ready carry is away, you can easily use this ability to last hit minions at range and of course safety. Number 13, the slow of this ability can be used to stall incoming minion waves. Number 14, this ability with the pointer W will heal you. This is your only form of self-heal. This is actually a really important point. You have to land some Qs to remain healthy in lane, to give your lane any form of longevity during the laning phase. Just basically land those Qs. There's no real tip beyond this. I wish I could add more, but honestly, that's pretty much it. Number 15, this heal will give you HP back for each enemy hit, but there is no limit on how many enemies can be hit and heal you. In other words, hit as many people as possible, as if that needed to be said. Soraka's W, Astral Infusion, passive. Each enemy champion hit by Star Call heals Soraka, increased by 1% for every 1% of Soraka's missing health. Active. Soraka blesses a friendly unit, restoring its health. Soraka's infusion cannot be self-cast, and nor can it be cast if Soraka is below 5% of her maximum health. Ability range 550. Uses and tips. Number 1, this ability does not apply spell effects. Number 2, if Soraka is below 10% of her maximum health, Astral Infusion will only bring her down to 1 HP. This is kind of similar to the mechanics of health resource champions such as Mordekaiser. Number 3, Spirit Visage will not increase the health donated to allies, although it will boost the health Soraka receives from Star Call if W has got a point in it. This can make Spirit Visage an invaluable item on Soraka's build. I heavily advise this item as it is everything Soraka needs. Health regain, cooldown reduction, more health when you land a Q, everything a good Soraka needs. Number 4, Astral Infusion can also be targeted on minions and pets. Number 5, a pretty awesome big sieging tactic is when you're pushing and you don't want your minions to die, heal the siege minion preferably if you can, because they get reduced damage from turrets, or just generally all of your minions, or even a pet like Annie's Tibbers or something when pushing. This is an awesome siege tactic. Keep on healing that minion repetitively and this turret will never kill it, so essentially you can push forever. This is an awesome tactic if you're ever ahead. Number 6, similar to the previous point, Soraka can out-heal most turret damage later on into the game, so if desperately you need something to tank and there's no minions near, get your tank or someone very beefy at least to soak up turret shots, and then you heal them while they're doing that, so you can take even more turrets. Number 7, this kill can help you get Baron and Dragon early. Although this is a small point, it is pretty helpful. Number 8, this ability is used to sustain yourself pretty much all game. I know this is so basic, but yeah, just sustain anyone who's low. Sustain basically. Number 9, due to this sustain, you must play an actual sustain lane. I have a how to lane as AD carry guide that goes over this, but basically it means make trades, use Soraka sustain to heal, make another small trade, sustain, make yet another small trade, sustain, all in when they're too low to win. Basically, go to that guide if you don't understand the concept I'm speaking about right now, but it is core on playing Soraka. If you don't do this, do not play Soraka. That's one of my big pet peeves, like all in Soraka people. You know, just don't do it. Number 10, this ability is good in combination with Star Call as it used to sustain yourself. As this ability costs HP, it is essential to keep on landing those Qs that will heal you with this ability. Again, I've mentioned it before, I just want to emphasize that it is really important. Number 11, Astral's Infusion Sustain is amazing to almost completely nullify any poke that may be inflicted upon your lane. This is a kind of a notable point, as this kind of makes Soraka the ultimate counter to poke lanes like Caitlyn Sona. She's just perfect at stopping this. She'll heal whoever your carry is just constantly, and they won't really be able to poke them down enough as long as your carry's been even slightly careful. Number 12, in teamfights, spam this on the focused target so they can survive for an unreal amount of time. People keep this for only the AD carry, only the backline. This ability has such a low cooldown, you can get away with casting it on its tank. This is the biggest mistake many Soraka players do in solo queue and everything. Like, they only save it for the backline, and I understand why. I mean, logically it does make logical sense, because you're like, right, I want to heal my carry, I don't care about the tank. But this ability is one of the rare exceptions in the game. It has a 2 seconds cooldown later on to the game. 2 seconds! You know, like, spam this ability to whoever in teamfights, whoever is low. It doesn't matter if they're backline or not, until your backline is actually being focused. So for the 5-6 seconds the front lines fight each other, keep on beating heals in the frontliners. Why not? It's got a 2-second cooldown. It will still be up for the backliners coming up. This is the biggest point ever. People say Soraka is so easy. Then why are actually I would say about 90% of Sorakas not doing this basic logic tactic? This isn't an insult, I don't mean it in an insulting fashion, but I find the easiest champions are the ones people most commonly mess up more often. So overall, spam heals in teamfights and don't save it for only the backline. Number 13, this ability's massive sustain can be used to help people survive burst damage at all points in the game. Number 14, you may stall minion waves with this ability. You can't actually heal yourself, but if you can get your AD carry to walk in front of the entire wave, assuming it's, you know, safe to do so, let them tank the wave and stall it until your minions catch up, and once the minions have all caught up and all, use your W on the carry, and they're back to full health. Free stall, basically. Number 15, now another point, if your AD carry is unavailable and you want to stall your enemies from pushing the wave to the turret, you can use Astral Infusion sparingly on your own minions to delay the push. So if they're trying to kill a siege minion, go up and heal it. Do be careful doing this, it is a pretty big note, but if you can't get 2 heals on a siege minion, it'll take them so long to push the wave back to your turret. This will save your AD carry so much CS, it's unbelievable. At higher levels of play, you're definitely going to want to use this tactic pretty much all the time. Number 16, alternatively, the same method of healing your minions can be used to deny farm. Carefully timed heals on allied minions under enemy turrets can deny a large amount of farm over time. If ahead, this is a pretty good power play tactic. Number 17, now I note this ability is godlike, but it comes with a basic drawback of costing you your own HP. Do not use this ability casually, or too casually at least. If someone needs healed, sure, but if someone is, for example, only missing 100 HP, let them regain it themselves, they're on their own. Don't heal very small amounts of HP, as it'll only cost you more HP in the end. Number 18, the lower HP Soraka is herself, the better heal she will provide. This is Riot saying no sitting back spamming heals with full HP. You actually have to go in and lose some HP. Generally, I use my W as a way of getting around this. After 4 casts, you're going to start doing some nice heals, because 40% of your HP is gone. This goes along with the spam in teamfights point pretty big. Number 19, now a massive point, do not build mass HP on Soraka. For example, I've seen Warmogs as a mainstream item on Soraka, and I see the logic perfectly, and it makes sense. You know, you get the regain, but the 1000 HP will make your W cost so much more. It'll make it cost a considerable amount. If you would have bought resistances, your heal wouldn't have cost any more, and you would have still got resistances to stop yourself from dying. I generally only get 1 single HP item, which is normally something like Randuins or of course Warmogs, because you do get the health back, but only get 1. From there, stack resistances. If you build Randuins and Warmogs, for example, your max HP would be around 3.5 thousand or so. This means your heal will cost you 350. I mean, so in a big team fight, you'll be chunking yourself 350 every 2 seconds. If you would have got Randuin's, the heal would have only cost 200. From here, you could have gotten Frozen Heart, which would have gave you cooldowns and would have cost no extra. You'd be saving yourself 150 health every 2 seconds. Don't fall into the mass HP trap. It doesn't help, it only hinders you. 1 more Mogs is kind of the limit, 1 HP item, and that's it. Number 20, now a big point all jungle mains will love. Tell your jungler beforehand that using a single health potion for the first jungle buff / camp is unnecessary. So in other words, tell them not to buy a single potion. Soraka should be able to heal her jungler once during the leash, and then step out of experience range when her jungler smites the camp, and then walk back in and heal her jungler a second time before heading to lane in a fashionable time. This is actually a pretty big tactic. Doing this twice will get your jungler so healthy, and it means, you know, they're a lot stronger jungle, which helps you out. In addition, by the time you get back to lane, you're going to have regained a lot of it, and your coin will start proccing, getting you health for the first wave, because no one fights in the first wave. Overall, it just, you know, you get it for free for the most part, so why not do it? Number 21, now a fun tactic for late game. When Soraka is capable, a large minion wave can be built up by constantly healing minions while they're fighting an enemy wave until the second ally wave reaches your first allied wave. This can facilitate an easier tower dive or even a split push. This can be epic if you're keeping them healed up. Soraka is easily one of the best at creating powerful 3-wave pushes with her endgame heal. Add in a Baron buff. Like, this is literally an end game tactic. I was trying to think outside the box with a cool tactic, and I've actually pulled this one before, and I was like, oh shit, yeah. So for the most part, heal up the minion waves, and then once your team gets Baron, if you stall the wave long enough, all of the 3-4 waves with all cannon creeps in it will get the Baron buff, and just, that's it, flattens everything. They can't clear the wave. It's too big. It's a very, very good high level tactic. Number 22, I forgot to count there. Ardent Sensor can be used to help turn the tides of a team fight if one or more of your team members is auto attack reliant. A well-timed wish will give your entire team the auto attack speed and the heal of this item, and this can allow your team to focus down an enemy turret more quickly, do more damage generally in smaller skirmishes. Generally, this is a fantastic item for Soraka because your heal applies it to your entire team. Soraka's E, Equinox. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly, as I commonly mispronounce quite a few things. Active. Soraka creates a zone at a target location for 1.5 seconds. Enemy champions standing in the zone take magical damage and are silenced for as long as they remain within it. At the end of the zone's duration, all enemies champions inside are rooted for a few seconds and take additional damage. Ability range 925. Root duration 1, 1.25, 1.5, 1.75, and 2. Uses and tips. Number 1, Spell Shields will block this ability. Number 2, Equinox cannot deal damage to lane minions or neutral monsters. Number 3, this ability is good at ruining enemy combos. This is one of its core uses and one of its main ones that will completely destroy your enemies. So for example, if a Rise runs in and leash and, you know, tries to run up and gets a chain on someone, throw it down. Completely ruin his entire combo. When he runs up, he'll not be able to burst them down. This goes for Veigar combos, Thresh combos, anyone that's got a combo, pretty much use it. This is a core use and has limitless possibilities, and although this is kind of a short point, I do want to emphasize it. This is core in stopping CC chains and bursts, and apparently us getting broken into. Number 4, due to Equinox's instantaneous cast time, it can be used to swiftly interrupt channel based abilities, like Katarina's Death Lotus or Nunu's ultimate for example. Number 5, alternatively, it can be used to trap or prevent enemy champions from engaging from a teleport or other global based ability. This is a pretty cool tactic. For example, when placed in the epicenter of a Pantheon's Grand Skyfall, it can prevent him from leaping onto an ally with his W due to the silence field, and will subsequently root him once he lands, making him vulnerable to a counter engage. Same with teleport. Before the cast is complete, cast this on the mark of teleport, so when the enemy lands, they're unable to cast spells, abilities, and will be rooted shortly after. Number 6, because of the route from Equinox is so extremely difficult to land, consider using it as a crowd control extension ability instead. For example, when a Mumu lands his ultimate on multiple enemies, a slightly delayed Equinox can effectively disable him for an even longer period of time, preventing them from flashing and then rooting them, allowing your allies to make quick work of them without fear of retaliation. Number 7, in lane, the previous point holds strong. Always cast this ability in sequence with other CCs if you want the root aspect of it. For example, wait until Ash fires your ultimate before you fire down your E. Number 8, while Equinox never guarantees a route, if an enemy champion simply walks over its radius, use a well-aimed star call to slow them down inside the route, making the second cast of Equinox more likely to occur. Number 9, when escaping from a dangerous situation, lead the path of your enemy and cast Equinox where they would be routed. This ability is fantastic when escaping. People either walk around it, which will take longer, or walk through it and get stunned. Either way, they're not winning. Number 10, Equinox can be used as a lifesaver when enemy jungle ganks come to gank you. Whenever Soraka casts support along the jungler's attack route, she effectively forces them to choose between a longer path and, of course, being silenced and the snare gauntlet. Number 11, always attempt to use Soraka's E in tight corridors, as it will prohibit your enemy from easily outmaneuvering the AoE radius of this ability. Number 12, Equinox can be used to sully an enemy's escape. If you cast this in front of your enemy's escape route, they may have to choose either a longer way around the ability or get snared, both of which normally means they die. Fun fact, my old nickname when I was really young was Sully. Number 13, this ability provides quite a strong unpassable terrain for its duration. This can make it fantastic to stall out objectives. You can stop an entire team from crossing, say the ramp from Baron, and stop them reaching, the Baron as quickly. No one wants to walk across it and get stunned or silenced. Number 14, if the enemy jungler is looking for a Baron or Dragonsteel from over the wall, you can easily stop them from getting within range to use their smite. Remember, silence stops the use of flash and all abilities, although not smite. You can't silence a smite. This means they have to get into range, so if a Lee Sin, who's one of the best people at stealing Baron, is at the other side of the Baron pit, just silence him just before it's even within smiteable range. The silence involved will ruin his combo and put him off extremely heavily. The silence will prohibit him from casting flash or his Q or W to get into range of the Baron, hence destroying any chance he has of stealing it. This is an awesome tip I've never seen anyone use ever, and I just made it up. So the thing is, always with this ability, it is so versatile with the silence. I just wanted to give an example of something that would completely be out of the box but would be next level plays. Always think of other ways to do things. Always think of the possible limitations and non-limitations of this ability. Soraka's R/ultimate, Wish. Active. Soraka calls upon the stars. That sounds so cool. First removing grievous wounds and then restoring health to all allied champions on the field, including untargetable allies. Wish's healing is increased by 50% on allied champions who are below 40% of their maximum health. Ability range, global. Health 150, 250 and 350. Or the increased heal when allies are low, 225, 375 and 525. Uses and tips. Number 1, let's start off with a common misconception. Wish will not credit Soraka for assisting in a kill if a target's ally is already at full health. So no casting for those free assists. I've done it myself. I mean, come on, let's be honest. We all want those free assists. So if an ally is at full health and you heal, you don't get an assist at all. Number 2, coming on from the previous point, this ability is amazing at getting free assists at any point in the game, assuming your enemy is healed even 1 HP. So in a slow game, if the top laner and jungler is about to finish off someone, you might want to heal them just to get that assist gold. Number 3, now standardized use of Wish is to save allies from across the map. This is the most standard, pretty much used. People make mistakes, save them from wherever you are. If someone is running and they need just a little bit of HP, use this ability and bang, the dirt is gone. Number 4, Soraka's ultimate is the perfect counter to Karthus' ultimate particularly. This guy wants to pick off very low HP enemies. Soraka wants to save very low HP allies. Due to this, Karthus' ultimate will never get a kill when your ultimate is up. You can simply ultimate anytime he tries to ulti and you will counter it completely. Number 5, Wish is also generally used to counter global based abilities or semi-global ultimates. So for example, if a Nocturne ganks your top or mid lane or whoever, you can possibly use your ultimate to turn the tides of battle from across the map. This is your best chance of dealing with global pressure as a support. Number 6, Soraka's R may manage to save allies from burst if they're across the map. Do be kind of calculated about this. It can save people from just enough bursts, but if they're at really low health, just leave them. Number 7, your R and W combo can be capable of saving a single target for basically any amount of damage. This is kind of more than the previous point. With your W heal, which is already insane, add in your ultimate and I mean it's so much health, people really can't be bursted down from that. Number 8, this ability is Champion. It's saving allies and outplaying enemies in turret dives. So if the jungler dive bot lane for an easy kill, you can last second, heal yourself, burning flashes, or hell even killing your enemy. Number 9, this ability is fantastic to help bait enemies into turret diving, into overextending, into overchasing. This ability is godlike at just baiting people so hard. Always try and save it until your enemy makes a mistake. This can help anyone in all lanes, so always tell everyone don't be scared of turret dives. You should be fine. Number 10, your RW is a counter to Grievous Wounds. Remember, Wish can be used to cleanse Grievous Wounds before continuing to heal allies with Astral Infusion. This means Grievous Wounds won't affect your W, making it more effective. This is an effective counter against Grievous Wounds. Remember to use your ultimate originally and then quickly use your W to take away the Grievous Wounds and ensure you get the maximum amount of heal. Number 11, generally use this near the middle of a team fight to ensure as many people are as low as possible. Too many people panic cast this ability, save it until the mid or even hell the end of the fight. This can easily help your team in baiting out a victory. This ability is a heavy weight on the scales of a team fight and it really does need to be used correctly, so wait until your allies are lower so this heals more, so save it. Number 12, when saving allies early game, do be careful with this ability. Sometimes people, even with the heal, will just die. There's nothing you can do about it. Ensure your ally actually has a chance of getting away or making a turn or something. Don't heal someone who's pretty much dead. Pretty much is what I'm saying. So, for example, if a person's 5-man ganked and they're cornered and they're 200 HP and they're really far behind, they won't get away. That's you know, they're dead. Live with it. Number 13, this ability requires you to be heavily vigilant of the map. This is a small cross every Soraka player just has to bear. Keep 2 eyes on the screen and keep an eye out for key ganks on the enemy lanes. Or your lanes of course as well. Don't spend your whole time looking at the screen of the gank, but if your jungler or the enemies are coming under a turret dive or something's happening, just keep an eye out just a key jungle gank times and a key teamfight times, and besides that don't just stare at the map and go, oh, is there any ganks? This is a thing a lot of new Soraka players kind of get wrong. They don't look enough. Just keep an eye out for key ganks and that's pretty much it. Number 14, this ability heals anyone who is currently untargetable. This means Zonya's, Vladpool, Lysandra ultimate, etc. Well, they'll still be healed, so no need to be careful of who you can and can't heal at what time. Just cast the ultimate whenever you feel it's right. Combo pretext. This section will be covering Soraka's combos. They're kind of important but very basic on Soraka, unlike a lot of my other guides which mention combo sections as being vital, which they are, just Soraka's isn't so much. Your ready carry will be providing most of the damage in trades and even most of the CC. You'll merely be poking, adding a little bit of burst, and predominantly just throwing out heals. A note for this section is that Soraka's passive icon will symbolize Soraka's auto attacks. Zone combos. Zone combo number 1. E. This is your best hard zone ability. Use your E to create a small zone where your enemy cannot stand for fear of being snared and of course taking free damage. This can be used to zone them off last hitting a creep, or of course someone's chasing you, or you just want to back them off for a bit, or anything your heart desires really. Zone combo number 2, Q and auto attack threat. Your Q and auto attacks are pretty much the only real harassment threat you've got. You should constantly be pretending or even attempting to land these harassment abilities to keep your enemy on their toes. Do not sit 300 miles back at the base going, oh, I'm a passive sustain lane. You still have to auto attack as Soraka. That's one of the main things people get wrong. You still have to do something, so even the threat of these should be enough to zone if you're doing it correctly. Harass combos. Harass combo number 1, auto attack. Soraka has 550 auto attack range. Harassing with auto attacks is vital. She only has her Q besides this as a long ranged arsenal, so you have to auto attack. If you've ever watched any high level Soraka player, what do? What is the first thing you notice when they walk into lane? They auto attack like a mofo. They don't stop. It is cancerous. You have to do this. Soraka lacks in any hard long range poke. You have to auto attack to make up for this, more so than most other carries. Of course remain safe, but always try and pull it off. Harass combo number 2, auto attack, Q. Begin this harassment with an auto attack and then lead on a Q after. Harass combo number 3, auto attack, E, Q, auto attack. So start off with auto attacking your enemy after this, fire down your E when they're within range, and then Q them immediately to slow your enemy in this E circle, and hoping a lot if the snare does hit. If the snare does in fact hit, auto attack again, and then just back off. Trade combos. Trade combo number 1, auto attack, Q, W and ally. Begin this trade with an auto attack and then Q your enemy and then of course heal your ally. Remember, this is a sustain lane. You should be backing off during these engages and simply healing your carry. Trade combo number 2. Auto attack, E, Q, W, ally. Ally. Auto attack, put down the E field, Q them to slow them from leaving it, and hopefully you get the snare. From here, back off and heal your ally unless your enemy is very low. Again, sustain lanes do burst trades and then back off quickly. Do not play Soraka as an aggressive lane. Don't even have it in your head. Just be passive. It's all about backing out. It's all about trading and outthinking your enemy. This sustain lane requires a little bit of finesse, and if you're more of a blunt tool kind of band, there's nothing wrong with that. Do use the hammer like, you know, a Leona for example. All-in combos. The note for these combos is to actually auto-attack after they're done. I mention this every time. Too many people stop auto-attacking, stop moving, stop doing anything of use. Please auto-attack after they've been complete. An all-in combo is for life or death. You provide a lot of damage and auto-attack start game, so please use it. And yes, I'll keep annoying you about this. A second point, Soraka does not all-in. Ever. Unless it's 100% win. Sustain lanes are based off fighting and having a massive advantage, an avalanche of advantages, and then just wiping out their opponents. Sustain lanes will be using these combos just for fights to finish off fights. You should not be all-inning as Soraka. 100% you just shouldn't be doing it unless they're so low they can't win. Generally, you would rarely be using these combos in your lane unless mistakes were made, and even then you should be backing out. All-in combo number 1, the auto attack, Q, auto attack, W, auto attack. Start with the auto attack. From here, Q, auto attack, heal your ally, and auto attack again. Only all in when your enemy has basically no chance of winning again. All in combo number 2, auto attack, E, Q, auto attack, W, auto attack. Begin with an auto attack, then from here, throw down your E quickly, and then Q immediately after to lock them inside its range. From here, heal your ally if they've lost HP and keep auto attacking. All in combo number 3, auto attack, E, Q, W, ultimate auto attack. So, pretty simple. Auto attack, E, Q to lock them in it, heal your ally. If the fight is going in a grey area, use your ultimate to keep it lit, and you should be fine. Laning section. Lane type, sustain poke. Playstyle, passive. Soraka's laning phase is played as a pure sustain based lane. If you don't know what I'm saying when I say sustain based lane, check out my How to Lane as AD Carry guide, which is already on YouTube. Simply type those words into the search bar and you should be able to find it. Watch it before you finish this guide, as it will help a crap ton more than my simple explanation here. Overall, sorry for whoring it out, but honestly, seriously, it will help you out in understanding how to play the bot lane if you're unsure. Soraka should always be attempting to make small harassments and or trades with all of her abilities and her auto attacks, and her carry should be doing the same. Always let the fight begin, make a small trade, then retreat immediately. You should be forcing small trades and simply sustaining your carry after they're complete. No all-ins will take place until you've won. Auto attack and retreat while doing it. Do your combos while retreating. Do your combos while chilling out. Do not all in. If you want to play something like that has real power in lane and could just jump in and easily win, again, Blitzcrank, Thresh, Leona, all fantastic tools you can utilize. But if you want a bit more finesse and a 100% win if you play it correctly, pick Soraka. Once your enemy is low, after you've said, say, 3 small trades, start zoning them and trying to go for an all-in that you will win easily. This is how the sustain lane is won. At this point, put down a ward immediately. People always call for ganks when they're getting this wrecked. Once you get the trade, you should win and kill them. Either that or they're going to back off. If they do, push the wave and make sure they lose as much CS as possible, and they're going to go back, get some damage in their turret, clear one more wave, and you go back. In a sustain lane, either you're going to kill them and there's nothing they can do about it, or you're going to get tons more CS. Either one, you've got to do one of them though. So overall, poke with small auto attacks and then make small trades, sustain up and do it again, and that's all you've got to do to win this lane. If you're losing really badly, simply stall the lane as much as you can and keep sustaining your carry with your W and trying to land some Qs to sustain yourself, and avoid making any trades or even trying to poke. Ask for a roam or a jungle gank or something, and that's all you can do. If ahead, you should still be using the sustain model, but will have a bit more breathing room, make 1 or 2 trades, or even just 1 and then all in. And that's pretty much it for the laning phase. That's how you play the sustain lane. Teamfight section. Soraka's role in teamfights should be played as followed in pretty much every teamfight. Position yourself in the middle of your front and back line. If your team engages, immediately heal the engager once they start losing HP. I mentioned this earlier, do not save that heal for just the back line. A 2-second cooldown will be off by the time the diver even can get to your backline. While no one is diving your backline and your the two front lines are just smashing against each other, just keep on healing whoever is low on the front line. Do not be afraid of doing this. If the frontliners can't die, you're still doing a good job. Once a diver does in fact come to your backline, E them and Q slow them down immediately. Try to lock them down as quick as possible. From here, rotate down to your carries while the diver is trying to go on them, and heal whoever that diver is on constantly. Once your entire team gets low, use your ultimate, and then that's pretty much it. Try and save it for as late as in the team fight as you possibly can, as it is more effective. But of course, if there's a big panic and only 3 people are really low, again, don't be afraid of using it. If my team is losing, I get my passive to get away and heal whoever is lowest. I then use my Q and E to slow down as many people as I can, assisting my team in getting away. If my team are winning, I use my passive if it's up and follow a low HP ally to try and land an E or Q lockdown combo to try and kill anyone you can get your hands on. From here, I run up to the minion wave, start healing it so we can push, and once it's under the turret, I heal the siege minion to help push the turret immediately and get tons of objectives. Again, that was mentioned, it's a pretty standard use. And that's the end of the guide, guys. I hope it helped. Remember, like it if you like it, dislike if you dislike it, sub if you like me, or unsub if you don't like the video in some cases and it wasn't up to quality, I understand. You can also share if you think it's good enough, or you know anyone that would benefit from Soraka tips or anything of the sort. Besides that, guys, thank you so much for watching and have an absolutely fantastic day.